If you're someone that wants to get tips and tricks to effectively get your book published, perhaps you're an aspiring author, you're starting from scratch, you're a bit confused, you want to get a surefire path to getting your book done, be sure to subscribe to the Getting the Win show. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe at Getting the Win. If you're listening on podcast, subscribe on Spotify. I am officially on Spotify, so you can find me on audio. Let's get into the show. Once you're aware of how you perceive love, you can express that to the people in your life, and you can find out from them. Now that you know what the 5 love languages are, you can ask them what theirs is and be able to more properly serve them. Because the last thing you want is to tell somebody what you want or what you need, and then they bring you something you never asked for. Good evening. Happy Wednesday, my winners and goal getters. Welcome back to the Getting the Win show. I'm your host, Melissa T, the procrastination bully. Today, I want to go over a tool that you can use to revolutionize your relationships and the way people experience you, and the way they treat you. And since I am helping my authors out here, this can also be a tool to help you in crafting your story, crafting your book. What I'm talking about today are Dr. Gary Chapman's 5 love languages. If you're familiar with them, put them in the chat, put them in the comments. Let me know if you're familiar with them. Write down what the 5 are if you know all 5 of them. And let me know which one you are. Like, what's your love language in particular? I love learning about my folks. I love learning about my community. So put yours in there if you know what yours is. If you're brand new to it, you've never heard of the 5 love languages before, this episode is for you. I'm going to break them down for you. So first of all, shout out to Dr. Gary Chapman, because he wrote this book. Hint, this is a book that began an entire movement. So if you're concerned about whether or not your book will have that kind of impact, it can. But he published his book in 1992. This gentleman is a Baptist pastor and taught that in his church, and it became a widespread phenomenon, became a Bible study. And I had the pleasure of taking that Bible study in the early 2000s. It's a great Bible study. But I want to go over these 5 love languages because you'll be able to apply them to your own relationships and into your writing. Okay. So the 5 love languages is basically the way that a person perceives being loved. This is how a person understands that they are loved by someone else. And Dr. Chapman went into this, he taught this as a way to help marriages heal or a way to maintain a healthy marriage, because we have a tendency to put out there what we need as opposed to going outward and paying attention to what other people need and giving them what they need. Okay. We have a tendency to project ourselves onto other people. And the beauty of the love languages is giving couples language so that they can know how to love each other more effectively. Instead of just giving somebody something they don't want, you hear them express to you what they actually want and need, and then you can finally effectively serve them. So the 5 love languages are as follows: physical touch, words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, and acts of service. Okay. One more time: physical touch, words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, and acts of service. So think about how you perceive receiving love, how you interpret someone loving you. When they say, I love you, which of these 5 things do you prefer to see from them for you to say, okay, I believe them, they actually love me? Do you prefer physical touch? Are you a very affectionate person? Are you more standoffish and prefer maybe acts of service? You prefer somebody to do things for you to demonstrate that they love you. Do you prefer receiving gifts as a way for somebody to say, I love you? Do you light up when your partner brings you flowers just because? Or if you're a guy, do you light up when your partner brings you a tool, a book, a video game, something connected to your vehicle? Do you prefer like jewelry? Do you prefer fragrance? What kind of gift do you like to receive? So go through those love languages if you're not familiar with them yet, and drop yours in the comments. I'd love to learn more about you. Let me know which one yours is. I'll be honest with you. I'm complicated. I'm somebody that actually has a tie for first place. My tie is physical touch and words of affirmation. Those are my top two. My secondary after that is quality time, because as an introvert, I much prefer one-on-one conversations or just intimate, smaller group conversations with the people I know, love, and trust. So my tie at number one, physical touch and words of affirmation, and number two, quality time. But yeah, reflect on that for yourself, because then once you're aware of how you perceive love, you can express that to the people in your life, and you can find out from them. Now that you know what the five love languages are, you can ask them what theirs is and be able to more properly serve them. Because the last thing you want is to tell somebody what you want or what you need, and then they bring you something you never asked for, right? And the same is true vice versa. If someone else is expecting something from you or has expressed to you what they want from you, and you give them something that they didn't ask for, don't be mad when they don't appreciate it, right? Like, if we express something that we need or that we enjoy, that is what we expect to receive. So likewise, be in that place of service with those around you as well. And once you're self-aware in that respect, your relationships will go to the next level. Now, here's how you can apply this to your book if you're someone who is working on one and is looking to step your writing game up. You can apply this in your writing, especially if you're writing fiction, because you can then apply this and tweak your characters a bit more. This can add another layer of nuance to your characters to make them more compelling and believable. If you're writing nonfiction, this will go back to a previous episode I did on the foundation of your book. And in that episode, I talked about your book's purpose, being clear on what you want your book to do and what problem your book solves for your reader, for your target reader. Additionally, in that foundation episode, I also talked about nailing down your target reader, your one person that you're writing to, so that you can speak one-on-one in direct and intimate language with them. These love languages can help add another layer of nuance to that communication. If you know for a fact your target reader is a 35-year-old named Carlos who lives in South Florida, he's in Miami, he is upper middle class because he's an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur, and you're writing a book that speaks to him, add that layer. What would his love language be? Would he be someone that values words of affirmation? Does he value receiving gifts? Because then that changes the way you position your book. So let's go with the Carlos example. Say, for instance, you designate your target reader as Carlos and his love language is receiving gifts. What you would want to do with your book then when you're marketing it is to add bonuses in there. Wrap some bonuses in there. Say, for instance, you have some downloadables that will be helpful to Carlos since he is an entrepreneur. Perhaps your book is solving a problem of helping him scale his business from 5 figures to 6 figures. Maybe he's stuck there, or that next level up from 6 to 7 figures. Throw some bonuses in there if receiving gifts is what you're designating as his love language. Perhaps there are financial calculators you can add in there. Perhaps there are AI tools that he can use to save time because leveraging time is one of the most important pillars in scaling a business. So that's the example in terms of receiving gifts. If words of affirmation is your target reader, if Carlos's love language is words of affirmation, then that would affect the way you write the narrative within the book. Perhaps you build in words of encouragement within your writing, because perhaps Carlos is someone that is a successful entrepreneur, but deep down, the one thing he's not admitting is he struggles with self-doubt. And maybe that's why he hasn't scaled his business yet. So if words of affirmation is what you're designating for your target reader, Carlos, then you would weave words of affirmation into the language of your book and into the language of your book's marketing when you're promoting it. If we go with acts of service, then perhaps what you're weaving into your book are tools that he can directly use immediately. Not quite the same thing as weaving in bonuses in my first example. This is stuff that is done for you that you're offering Carlos, that he can incorporate immediately. Perhaps you upsell a done for you service. Perhaps Carlos is using a VA for something or a couple of VAs for something within his business, and you're offering an AI tool that is able to consolidate several of those responsibilities that Carlos can just subscribe to and automatically be able to save time and revenue and money, because those are two less people that he needs on his team. Perhaps that's what's going to help him scale. So that's the way to incorporate it. That's an example for acts of service. Physical touch, if your target reader Carlos is someone that values that, make sure you tie in an offer that includes an in-person live event, which allows for VIP access to you as the author. That way, when Carlos buys his ticket and comes to your event, you can give him the biggest hug possible. Okay? That's the way you would incorporate the physical touch one. And that also kind of ties in with the quality time love language. If quality time is Carlos's top love language, you tie in that opportunity for a live event. Or with the quality time one, you could also go virtual, because with quality time, it doesn't have to be physical. But you tie in an offer with VIP time with you, 20-minute session, 30-minute session, whatever the case may be. So that's an example of how you can incorporate the love languages into your writing, into your book's purpose, into your book's marketing. So in my example, I have a book that I'm working on, a productivity book the draft is set to be completed on May 31st. As of this recording, I've got a month. So my target reader is a wife and mom who is 40 plus. Her name is Vanessa. She is a Floridian. She's a Central Floridian. She has a 9-to-5 and a business. She's shouldering both of those things. So her love language is going to be either quality time or acts of service. Her love language, acts of service, is number one, because she ain't got time to do all the things. She's already doing a lot of the things. So number one for her is acts of service. And number two, quality time. She appreciates you doing stuff for her to free up her time so she can then spend quality time with you. Because remember, Vanessa is a wife and a mom. So she wants to spend time with her kids, which is why she's hustling so hard. What's keeping her up at night is financial stability. She wants to be financially stable enough that her family can have the freedom to do the things that they want to do so they can enjoy quality time together. So I'm writing my book in that way to help her be more productive, stop procrastinating on her luxury item so that she can spend more quality time with her people. My act of service is the book itself, is giving her those ways to become more productive, giving her the mindset shifts that she needs to become more productive and to level up herself as a person and even to level up her business. And most certainly to get published. That's how that would work. That's the example of applying the love language to a book, and in this case, a nonfiction book. For fiction writers, the five love languages are a boon. There are several behavior modalities that help and psychological modalities that help fiction authors be able to fine tune their characters. You guys have heard me, if you've been rocking with me for a while, you've heard me talk about the flight assessment, which is E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher's proprietary version of the DISC assessment. Those four behavior styles can work in any paradigm. It's great. Like, most of us can fit into one of those four dominant behavior styles. We have all four, but we each have one that we're natural in more than the other three. So you can apply that as well. If you're a writer, apply the five love languages, learn more about the flight assessment, and apply those four behavior styles as well. Incorporate that into your book and into your book's marketing. But I wanted to share these things with you, share these love languages with you so that you can more effectively communicate what you need from the people in your life, from the relationships in your life, and then find out from them what they need so you can better serve them, better show your love to them, or deepen your relationship with them. The beauty of learning the love language is that if someone is starting at the surface level and you learn what their love language is, you can deepen the relationship by really giving them what they want. They'll come to trust you when you're serving them in the way that they truly desire. If previously you met somebody who's bubbly and fun-loving, and perhaps initially you started out with words of affirmation because maybe that's what you need personally, but perhaps in conversation you kind of just, from context clues, hear that they value quality time. They love hanging out. They love one-on-ones. They love being on the phone. And you figure that out, then you can have more frequent touch points with them. And they'll appreciate you more for giving them what they really desire, which is the quality time, as opposed to showering them with compliments and praise. They'll appreciate it. Bubbly people appreciate that. But if quality time is what they really love, they'll appreciate you much more for that. They'll gladly pick up the phone when you call them. Gladly. So use these tools that I've presented to you to up-level your game in your writing, up-level your game in your relationships. Here's an example of how I've been able to do that in my own life. So within the UOU Mastermind, I've developed deep and meaningful friendships. I mean, we're essentially family at this point. Like, we refer to each other as sis and bro, you know what I mean? Like, there's some deep relationships in there. But upon learning some of my folks' behavior styles in there, I started to also make the connection with the love languages too. And I was like, okay, this is what this person seems to need based on what I've heard them talk about frequently. So for instance, there's one young lady who is a ground screw like me, or is exhibiting ground screw behavior in this season of her life. High ATC, she's very analytical, very detail oriented, but she also gives off ground screw. So she's very methodical, very, very loyal, but the combination of task oriented and people oriented. And I noticed the way she talks about herself in our conversations with each other. She's very self-deprecating. So, two things I picked up there based on her habits and based on her language: words of affirmation and quality time, as love languages go. She values both of those things. And so we have work sessions every week. We get on the work session. That alone is quality time. And she values our work sessions. She loves, regardless of what the outcome of the work session is, whatever the task was that we appointed to complete by the end of the work session, she always thanks me at the end of the work session. She always finds value in it because it's quality time. And because during the work session, I'm the procrastination bully, and I understand that self-talk impacts our productivity. So every time she says something that's self-deprecating, I counter it with something that's complimentary. Sometimes I'll fuss at her and say, stop saying that. But 9 times out of 10, I just counter with something that's a compliment to reinforce her value, to remind her of how valuable she is. And that is the way that she receives and perceives my love as a sister, as a mastermind member. You know what I mean? As a friend. So that's an example, a practical day-to-day example. You can do something practical like that as well for your people. For your folks who value quality time, carve out 10 minutes in your schedule, even if it's something as simple as texting them to let them know they were on your mind. They'll appreciate that. They'll appreciate that. And then in the text say, hey, let's carve out a time to chat. Let's catch up. That kind of thing. Or just randomly call them. You know what I mean? If they appreciate you, they'll answer the phone, because we always make time for the things that are important to us. And if you're important to them, they'll answer. Even if it's to say, hey, I'm in the middle of something. Can I call you back later? Sure. Click. That's okay. You made the call and they understood directly that you wanted to talk to them. They'll appreciate that. For your folks who appreciate receiving gifts, if they perceive that as love, you don't have to go big or extravagant, but find out what it is that they want. What are some things that they've been talking about in conversation that they're interested in? Something that kind of tickles their fancy. Maybe a product or a show they've been thinking about. Maybe it's a movie they've been wanting to see. And just take them. Take them to the movie, or, connect them with anything related to that show that they want to watch. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be extravagant. If you got it like that, by all means, shower them. Create an amazing experience for them. But yeah, if you know that somebody likes receiving stuff, you see they get all bubbly and excited when they receive something, even if they don't tell you. Yeah, give them a little something, something. If the person enjoys physical touch, maybe you're weirded out by that. Maybe you're not comfortable with that. Maybe you've been kind of standoffish with them, but you know they appreciate it. You can start simple. Fist bump them. Do the forearm shake. You know what I mean? The old school, it's physical touch. They'll appreciate that. Gently touch their shoulder. It's physical touch. They'll appreciate that. And it's not overbearing on you. If physical touch is something that weirds you out. If somebody's thing is acts of service, find out what they need help with. Or find out what tasks they don't feel like doing, and maybe help them with it. Or point them in the direction of somebody that can help them with it. They'll appreciate that because they want their time. They greatly value their time. So yeah. Those are ways that you can apply the love languages to the relationships in your life. If you found this episode beneficial, be sure to like and share this with your peeps. And if you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe on YouTube at Getting the Win. And if you're on Spotify, the Getting the Win show is there as well. So subscribe on Spotify so you can listen in while you're multitasking and doing all the things. I am there. The Procrastination Bully will be in your ear. Okay? But in the meantime and between time, thank you so much for listening. I will see you next Wednesday as expected. And I pray that you have a great and productive rest of your Wednesday and great and productive rest of your week. Peace.